make your own opinion. Yep. Like, you probably watch a lot of people. Just gather the things that works best for you. Yep. Because not everything from one person is going to be 100% right for you.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Driven. Today's topic is going to be making your own opinion. Now, the reason why we're doing this topic is because I know, for myself, I watch a lot of videos online. I watch a lot of quote-unquote influencers. And I know it's easy to just listen to what they say and then assume that, you know, whatever they say is factual or it's the correct way or it's the correct thing to do. Mm-hmm. And which I don't think that's the case for not a lot of the stuff they say, but for some of the stuff they say, and, you know, for whatever they say may not work for you.
No, definitely. And I know this because, and not that I know this, but I think it came up because we were talking about some of the people that we watch. Yep. And then, you know, I've told you of some of the people that I watch. You told me of some of the people that you watch. And I think, I think when we do look them up, I think in general, most people, give the right advice or right, yep, or, you know, they're doing good when it comes to the platform that they use. But I think sometimes a lot of the things that they say, it's not, and that comes with, you know, your own morals and values. It's not right. Mm-hmm. And even if it is right, it might not work best for you. Because that's something that I've seen, like, that's something that I've learned more than anything, that not everyone is like you. So, for example, in our business, not everyone has the same drive or the same want that, you know, let's say we have. Yep. And so for a long time, I was trying to, like, push people. I was trying to drive them. I was trying to, like, motivate them in a way. But then as time went by, you know, and then I remember even using some, like, you know, like their circumstances, their own family, to kind of as motivation. But then that's something that I've had to learn kind of the hard way, that not everyone is the same. Not everyone has the same drive. Not everyone has the same temperament. And that's one of the things that I also had to learn, that everyone is very different when it comes to, you know, everything, emotionally, you know, intelligence wise, capability. And like how that's how I was mentioning that even though, like, someone that you watch, they're saying the right thing or saying, you know, giving good advice, it might not be the right one for you. Yep. And you know, because they're in a different position in life than you are. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know if you have.
Well, with that, I know the reason why it started is because I was telling you the guy that in Spanish. Yeah. The guy that his whole thing was to give self-improvement to young men. And so, like, it's, you know, go work out, you know, go make your money, go be successful, like, just be the best version you could be. But then on top of that, he was also giving relationship advice, which, and I know that's something you didn't agree with.
Yeah. And so yeah, I feel like most of the advice is the good advice. But, you know, that advice, I feel like when he gave relationship wise, it might be because of what has happened to him, or where, like, I don't know. I don't know his situation, but I feel like the advice that he's given is gonna make people paranoid. It's gonna make at least it's not the right one. Mm-hmm. I feel like it makes things, for someone in a certain situation, that advice will make it worse than make it better. Mm-hmm. And granted, that depends on the person, but so yeah, when I went through the advice, I'm like, this thing is gonna make things worse.
I didn't look at it, you know, that way, because the way I look at it is like, you know, I'll just get whatever makes sense, and then the rest is just, you know, to the side. But then looking at it from an outside perspective, you know, he's very impressionable. He's very charismatic. You know, the way he talks, and especially, you know, a young guy or young person, not much life experience. You know, they see him and they're like, oh man, this guy's right. You know, I better do what he says, or like, I need to have the same mentality. So I didn't look at it through that perspective. Mm-hmm. And I guess my follow-up question is, why do they, or better yet, like, why do some of the influencers, you know, like, what's their allure? You know, why do, like, a lot of people, or what makes them so just...
I think a lot of people look up to them. Like, they've achieved things that people want to achieve. Like, they've achieved success. That's why, you know, a lot of people look up to, like, Andrew Tate, you know, Alex Hormozy, you know, Jordan Peterson, and, you know, granted it's more of the advice than anything else, but I feel like people look up to them and, you know, want to be, you know, like them. But I think with that, not everyone can become like them. Kind of how I said that they're very different when it comes to, like, the, you know, the temperament, capability of doing things, intelligence. And so yeah, I think it's just the charismatic people look up to them, they want to be like them, they want to emulate them. And so I think it comes to that. I don't know what you see as to why that is the case.
I think one of the reasons why is because and reading from the book Influence, it's one of the principles of influence, which is the authority principle. You see they have a lot of followers, the way they talk, maybe they're successful in whatever they do, and you're like, man, like he must have done something right for him to be in that position, or her to be in that position. So I'm like, maybe they know something I don't, so let me just, do what they say. And so that's one of the reasons. Obviously, there's going to be a lot more reasons why they're so attractive, in what they say, what they preach. But I think that's one of the reasons why is that authority principle. Like, because he's in a he's in a position of power of influence, like he must be doing something right. And I think that's why a lot of people, like, maybe they look up to them.
Yeah. And I kind of almost fell into that trap with Alex or Mosey, because the vast 99.9% of the stuff I agree with, and so I almost kind of, like, you could say, quote unquote, fell into the trap, like, oh, he does this, it must be the right way. But there was one thing that I didn't agree with, and so that thing was pretty much like when he was young. I think there was this coach or teacher that he used to work out with him, like I forgot where like he was at, but like in life, but that teacher took the time, was working out with him, showed him how to train and work out. And so kind of like that teacher kind of like was helping him. But as time progressed, he became super successful, and then that teacher reached out to him again. And then so what happened was pretty much that that teacher, we kind of like wanted an hour of the time, maybe a week or something like that. And he said kind of no, kind of thing, like, I don't have the time, which is fair. That's the thing. But I feel like when someone gives you something, if I was to be put in that position and I saw someone going out of his way to help me learn how to train and all these things, I will feel some type of obligation, and not even necessarily obligation, but I'll feel like, what, this person did this for me, I want to do this at the very least for him, because it might have shaped and molded him, put him in the direction where he went. Because if he taught him how to train, me being put in that position, and granted that, and that's why we're not the same. Like, exactly. I would help the whoever it was, if they helped me to, progress in life. And so that one I kind of didn't agree with, and my perspective didn't change on him. It's just something that I didn't agree with. And even though a lot of the stuff that he said, changing friends, and, in general, I think it's good advice. Not everything that he, especially particularly that part, I didn't agree with. And so, like, that's why, like I had mentioned, I almost fell into the trap when he said, like, when he gave certain advices, because everything that he said up until then, like, 100%. But then, once I heard that story per se, it's kind of like, not that it snapped me out, and not saying that he's doesn't give good advice. It's just like, okay, you know what? And not everything that he says is 100% the right way, or at least for me. And so, like, that kind of like snapped me out. Like, not everyone, or not any individual is 100% the way I want to be, or 100% right, and at least in my opinion. And so,
and it goes back to the topic of the episode, which is make your own opinion. Because every person wants something different. He may want something different. That because he wants one thing, it doesn't allow him to go back to that. And on your end, you may have different opinions, you may have different values and beliefs,
and that's one of the things, like, and let's say, like, probably that decision is gonna, for what he wants, it's gonna actually help. But and so for me, like, I look at that, maybe like cutting someone off, even though they help me, like, it probably might help me, like, in the long run. But it's like, I'd rather, like, sacrifice the successes and probably the monetary, like, I'd rather sacrifice that and give to the individual that gave to me than kind of like ignore that and then just move forward. And so, like, I would give up that sacrifice which not everyone will like. You probably wouldn't. I would, because I would just, and it comes with the difference in people, and so like.
And it's not bashing him, or it's not bashing anyone. Like, it goes back to like, it's like it is your life. You're gonna live it the way you want to, whether people agree or not, and you shouldn't care what people think of you. He doesn't care what we think of him.
Yeah.
And so like, it just goes back to like, the following thing is that just because people are successful in their niche, or successful in whatever they do, doesn't mean their expertise in other aspects. Like, going back to the relationship, he was giving good advice to young men, go work out, go train, go make money, go this and that. But when it came to relationships, like, doesn't make him an expert. Or it doesn't mean like we had to agree with it.
Yeah, and then for some, and that's the thing. Like, if his advice, it makes sense to you and it works for you, then then go for it. But that's the thing, kind of like of how you were saying, is that make your own opinion.
Yep.
Like, you probably watch a lot of people. Just gather the things that works best for you.
Yep.
Because not everything from one person is gonna be 100% right for you. And so just like for myself, I'll give the examples of the people that I watch and I look up to, and that I want to in some way emulate, like Patrick Bet-David, Jordan Peterson. I know some people are not gonna like it, but Andrew Tate, I agree with like 95% of the stuff he says. 5% I don't agree with, but him, Alex Hormozy, I don't know if I mentioned him already. At least those four at the top of my head are some of the people that I look up to, but I'm not gonna gather 100%. I'm not gonna take as the word for one individual. I'm just gonna go see what best fits for myself, and then just go ahead and live accordingly to what I think life should be for me.
And it's also doing your research. And just piggybacking off of what you said, it's again, I'm reiterating myself, I'm repeating myself, but it's whatever they say makes sense, but it's at the end of the day, it's your responsibility to do your own research to see if it's going to work for what you have right now and what you want in life. Because some, like maybe some of them, they're willing to sacrifice everything to be the most successful in their thing. But then myself, am I willing to sacrifice my family? Am I willing to sacrifice relationships? Am I willing to sacrifice friendships? Just make your own opinions. But with that, if you had to summarize the topic,
just kind of like with the information that I know, we're overloaded with a lot of information coming from the people, the influencers that you watch, the news and everything. I think just gathering the information and seeing what works best for you, and I think from that, I think things should work out. In the way you want them to. And what about you? Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts is you're gonna be your own person. What works for one person doesn't work for the other, and vice versa. Whatever an influencer says, or a person of authority, doesn't mean it's always gonna be the right thing, or it's always gonna be factual, and then the other person is wrong. And then just do your research, and it goes back to just do whatever works for you.
And so those are our final thoughts. And so with that, this has been another episode of Driven. My name is Juan.
And my name is Alexis.
And we'll see you on the next one.